Lord Lebedev, he comes in for a lot of stick, doesn't he? This is a tale of privilege, patronage, procedural neglect, and the curious case of a Russian-British newspaper owner elevated to the House of Lords by his chum Boris Johnson. The story exemplifies not only the vulnerabilities of the British political system, but also the perils of complacency when security concerns intersect with political patronage. In 2020, in July, Johnson nominated Yevgeny Lebedev for a life peerage, citing his contributions to journalism and philanthropy. And Lebedev, whose empire includes the Evening Standard, the Independent, became Lord Lebedev of Hampton and Siberia. And while peerages are often contentious, this case stood out for its lack of transparency and its security implications. And the House of Lords Appointments Commission, tasked with vetting nominees, typically receives a citation justifying each peerage. Yet in Lebedev's case, no formal rationale accompanied the nomination, it now appears. This glaring procedural lapse raised eyebrows, particularly when the independent, when the organisation, when the House of Lords Appointment Commission, HOLAC, was asked by the security service whether it had flagged up security risks, and it had to disclose that this citation was non-existent. Alexander Lebedev, his Lord Lebedev's father, Yevgeny's father, is a former KGB officer, no stranger to controversy. Post-Soviet oligarch Alexander Lebedev has turned Putin critic, and Alexander remains a polarizing figure nevertheless. His links to the Kremlin and subsequent sanctions by Canada and Ukraine for supporting Russian interests only heightens concerns over Yevgeny's suitability for public office. And before confirming the peerage, the Security Service briefed Johnson personally on the risks associated with Yevgeny's appointment. Yet Johnson proceeded, allegedly dismissing or downplaying the advice. He didn't do the same thing about Liz Truss, did he? Not Liz Truss. Nadine Dorries. I confused the two. Isn't it so easy to do? Nadine Dorries, make me a lady, Boris. I want to be a lady. This decision reinforced accusations of cronyism, as Johnson and Lebedev shared a close personal rapport, often illustrated by their infamous vodka-fueled soirees. And critics, including Lord George Fuchs and Ian Blackford, questioned the wisdom of granting a peerage to an individual with potential Kremlin connections, especially amid heightened scrutiny of Russian influence in UK policies following the invasion of Crimea and the accession of Crimea into the Russian Empire ruled by Putin. The fallout has been swift. Media outlets reportedly talked about the House of Lords Appointment Committee process and the lack thereof, fueling debates about the integrity of political appointments. Private Eye called him Two-Beard, because apparently there are rumours that he's gay, and Labour pushed for the government to release the security advice provided to Johnson, a motion supported across party lines. However, citing national security, the Cabinet Office refused to disclose the documents, leaving many questions unanswered. According to the controversy, adding to the problem is the fact that Lord Lebedev rarely attends the House of Lords, like some of the people appointed recently, like Lord Palumbo, rarely in the Lords. What's the point of appointing somebody to Ermine if they don't do the job, if they don't appear in the House of Lords? As early as 2024, he remains one of the least active members, leading to renewed calls for stricter criteria and oversight in granting life peerages. What's the point? The saga underscores the flaws in the system in the peerage process, where political ties can supersede due diligence. And this episode also highlights Johnson's cavalier attitude towards established protocols, prioritizing personal connections over national interest. For HOLAC, This has been a watershed moment, prompting calls for mandatory citations and greater scrutiny, and the elevation of Lord Lebedev serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that public trust hinges on the integrity of our institutions. And as peers sit for life, the stakes are high, and the consequences of oversight or negligence ripple far beyond the gilded chambers of the House of Lords. And as the life peers are now removed, as the hereditary peers are now removed, this is a chamber full of political appointments. The life peers at least offered a balance of people who had inherited their title and inherited that sense of responsibility and that duty to public service. These people like Lebedev have got their peerage, it seems, simply because they're drinking buddies with the Prime Minister. That isn't enough. The next thing, you're going to be expecting to give peerages to the Downing Street cat. It's shocking. I'd love to know your opinions about the peerage system. I personally think the House of Lords is a good thing, but I thought the House of Lords was a good thing when the hereditary peers were sitting. I'm not so convinced that the political appointment of life peers is a guarantee that there will be people in the House of Lords who are capable of and routinely know how to scrutinise legislation as it comes through into the second chamber. I think the idea of appointing life peers is great, but I think the idea of appointing of one Prime Minister appointing them is not so appropriate. There needs to be a broader remit for the appointments, and we need to find a way to staff the House of Lords with people who are going to genuinely bring good debate and good analysis to the discussions about the laws which are passing through, rather than nodding stuff through with political cronyism.